The first time I saw the stakes, I thought somebody had made a stupid mistake. 3 bright orange survey flags had been pushed into the grass behind my shed sometime before sunrise. They ran in a clean little line straight across the back corner of my yard, cutting through my flower bed, my gravel path, and the exact spot where my dog used to sleep in the afternoon shade. For a second, I just stood there in my boots holding a coffee mug, staring at them. Then I saw the spray paint, a thin stripe of neon orange across the ground. Not on the fence line, not even close. It was 6 feet inside my property. That was when I heard his voice from the other side of the cedar fence. "Looks better already." I turned and saw my neighbor, Travis Dempsey, standing on a stepladder in his yard with both forearms resting across the top of the fence like he was admiring a renovation. He smiled at me, not embarrassed, not uncertain, not confused, confident, like a man who believed the land under my feet was already his. And right there, before I said a single word, I felt something cold move through my chest. Because property disputes are one thing. People make mistakes. Surveys get messy. Fences go up in the wrong place all the time. But that wasn't what I saw in Travis's face. What I saw was intent. He wasn't asking where the line was. He was telling me where my land ended now. And by the time he was done, he was going to learn a lesson every bad neighbor eventually learns the hard way. Confidence is not ownership. My name is Caleb Turner, and I live in a subdivision outside Boise, Idaho, called Silver Creek Estates. It's the kind of place developers describe with words like peaceful, elevated, and family-friendly. Big lots, decorative stone signs, curving roads. An HOA with too much free time and residents who act like grass height is a branch of the legal system. I bought my house in 2022 after my father passed away. He'd left me just enough money to put a real down payment on something solid. Not flashy, just stable. A place with a yard, a workshop, and enough room to feel like I wasn't boxed in by grief all the time. That back corner of the lot mattered more than most people would understand. I built a small sitting area there with pavers and a bench under an old maple. I planted wildflowers along the fence, put in a simple bird feeder. Nothing dramatic. Just one quiet place on the property where everything felt still. For the first year, Silver Creek was tolerable. Then Travis moved in. Travis Dempsey was the kind of man who always looked like he had just walked out of a meeting where he'd interrupted 3 people and called it leadership. Mid-40s, polished beard, white SUV, expensive sunglasses, and a way of speaking that made every conversation sound like he was doing you a favor by allowing it. The first week after he moved in, he leaned over the fence while I was trimming back a rose bush and said, "You know, these lot lines aren't always where people think." That's not how normal neighbors start conversations. I looked up and asked, "What's that supposed to mean?" He smiled. "Just saying. The previous owner told me your fence placement was questionable." Now I knew that was a lie immediately. I had the original survey from closing. So did the title company. So did the county. But people like Travis don't start with facts. They start with atmosphere. They want to plant uncertainty first. Make you wonder if there's a problem before they invent one. I told him the fence had been there before I bought the place, and it matched the survey exactly. He shrugged. "Maybe. We'll see." That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Over the next month, he kept working at it. He'd make comments while mowing, mention usable square footage, talk about grading and slope rights. Once he actually said, "That back corner belongs naturally with my drainage line." Naturally, as if land ownership were determined by his preferences. Then came the HOA angle. Silver Creek's HOA president at the time was a woman named Denise Palmer, who was lazy in the most dangerous way possible. She didn't like conflict, didn't read carefully, and tended to believe the last confident person who spoke to her. Travis knew that. A week after our first argument about the back corner, I got an email from the HOA saying there had been neighbor concerns about a possible fence encroachment affecting drainage and property consistency. I called the management office and asked for the basis of the concern. They wouldn't say. Of course not, but they did tell me Travis had submitted a boundary clarification packet. That phrase alone made my jaw tighten. So I pulled my paperwork, survey, closing file, plot plan, fence invoice from the previous owner, city lot record, everything. And because something about Travis bothered me from the beginning, I also installed cameras. 2 facing the side yard, 1 aimed at the rear corner under the maple, 1 over the shed with full coverage of the fence line. That decision saved me, because once Travis realized paperwork wasn't moving me, he started moving things himself. First it was small, a survey flag here, a chalk mark there. Then I noticed the mulch around my back flower bed had been kicked up near the fence. Then one evening I found one of my solar path lights tossed into the grass. Petty little changes. The kind designed to make you question your own memory before you question your neighbor. But cameras don't question. They remember. The footage showed Travis stepping through the rear utility gap in the fence one evening at 8:42 p.m. He bent down near the flower bed, pushed in 2 marker flags, and took pictures from 3 different angles before stepping back onto his property. The next night he did it again with a can of orange marking paint. The line he painted was nowhere near the actual boundary. He just invented one. When I showed that clip to my attorney, she let out one low whistle and said, "That's bold." Her name was Erin Wells, property attorney, mean in a useful way. "Is bold good?" I asked. "For us, yes. For him?" She gave me a flat look. "Only if he enjoys depositions." That was the first time I relaxed a little. Because until then, some part of me worried Travis might know something I didn't. He didn't. He just had the confidence of a man who had never been properly corrected. The confrontation came on a Saturday morning. I was near the back corner, pulling up the flags and repainting over his nonsense marks, when Travis appeared on the other side of the fence. "You should leave those," he called. I straightened up slowly. "No. That's disputed ground now." "No, Travis, it's my yard." He laughed, not loudly. Worse than that, softly, like I was being naive. "You really want to drag this out?" I looked at him over the fence. "You walked onto my property." He spread his hands. "Onto disputed property." "There is no dispute. There is now." That line stayed with me, because that was exactly how he thought. Not that the land was his, that if he insisted hard enough, acted certain enough, and created enough inconvenience, the land would become his. That afternoon, Erin sent a formal notice demanding he stop trespassing and cease any tampering with boundary features or personal property, pending clarification through proper channels. His response came through a lawyer 3 days later. It claimed there was credible basis to believe the rear corner had long been misallocated and that my fence may not reflect enforceable lot reality. Enforceable lot reality. Lawyers charge money to write things stupid men want to believe? Erin read it, smiled, and said, he hired someone willing to bill by the fantasy. Then she did the one thing Travis clearly didn't expect. She commissioned a new licensed survey. Not because we needed it, because she wanted one dated after his trespass, with GPS verification and a surveyor willing to testify. The crew came out on a Tuesday. Travis stood on his patio watching the entire process like a man who had already rehearsed outrage but not defeat. By the time the surveyor finished, the line was clearer than ever. My fence was legal, my yard was legal, my flower bed, pavers, maple bench, all of it sat comfortably inside my lot. Travis's invented line wasn't just wrong, it was ridiculous. You'd think that would end it. Instead, it got worse. The first real damage happened at night. I woke around 2:10 a.m. to the sound of something cracking outside. At first I thought it was wind. Then came a second sharp snap. I checked the rear camera feed from my phone and felt my stomach drop. The bench under the maple had been knocked over. One of the pavers had been pried up. And in the dim motion light, I could see a figure near the fence line dragging something across the mulch bed. Travis. I was halfway to the back door before reason caught up. That's what he wanted. He wanted me outside in the dark, angry, reactive, and off-camera enough to muddy whatever came next. So instead, I called the police. Then I kept recording. By the time officers arrived, Travis was back in his house, but the damage was done, and the footage was clean. Him stepping through the rear gap, him yanking the bench, him kicking through the flower bed, him trying to reposition the paver edge as if changing the landscaping could somehow change the deed. The responding officer watched the video twice. Then he asked the question I'd been waiting for. "You got any kind of ongoing dispute with this guy?" I said. "He thinks my land is his." The officer nodded like that explained everything. In a way, it did. After that, Travis stopped pretending to be friendly. He sent HOA complaints, claimed I had threatened him, claimed my bench area interfered with drainage, claimed my shed runoff crossed the shared transition zone, which wasn't even a real thing. Then came the email that destroyed him. One of the HOA board members, probably tired of being dragged into Travis's nonsense, forwarded Aaron an internal message Travis had sent to Denise and 2 committee members. It said, "If Caleb won't compromise, I'm going to start using the corner as if it's mine. Possession matters, not title, not survey, not records. Possession." That sentence told us exactly what kind of case this really was. He wasn't confused. He was trying to manufacture leverage. Erin nearly laughed when she read it. "Oh, this is beautiful." I didn't feel beautiful. I felt violated, because that back corner had stopped feeling like mine. I'd sit on the patio and look toward the maple and think about footprints, spray paint, broken wood, camera timestamps at 2:10 in the morning. That's the thing people miss about these stories. The real damage isn't always financial. Sometimes it's what happens when somebody turns your home into a negotiation you never agreed to. The hearing was set for the next month. By then we had everything. Original survey, new survey, camera footage, police report, HOA emails, his lawyer's fantasy letter, the board message about using the corner as if it's mine, photos of the disturbed bed, damaged bench, moved pavers, and fake paint line. Travis showed up in court in a navy blazer with the exact expression men wear when they've mistaken expensive confidence for a legal strategy. Aaron opened with the surveys, then the photos, then the trespass clips, then the 2:10 a.m. footage, then the email. By the time she read "Possession matters" into the record, Travis wasn't even looking at the judge anymore. He was staring at the table. His attorney tried to frame it as a heated misunderstanding over unclear boundaries. Aaron shut that down in one sentence. "Unclear boundaries do not usually involve nighttime entry, fabricated line markings, and a stated intention to occupy another owner's land by force of inconvenience." That line landed hard. The judge ruled exactly the way he should have. No boundary ambiguity, no basis for encroachment, no right of use, no excuse for trespass or property damage. Travis was ordered to stop entering my land, stop interfering with the rear corner, pay for the damage, and cover a good chunk of my fees. The HOA got a warning, too, for entertaining unsupported harassment as if confidence were evidence. After the hearing, Travis walked past me without speaking. No smile, no sunglasses, no theories about natural drainage ownership. Just a man learning that property lines are real, even when arrogance isn't. A week later, I rebuilt the flower bed edge, reset the pavers, and put the bench back under the maple. That evening, for the first time in months, I sat there again with a glass of iced tea and watched the yard go quiet. No orange paint, no flags, no footsteps, just wind moving through the leaves and a line in the dirt that had always been mine. Travis thought he owned my land. He was wrong. How did you like the story? Subscribe to my YouTube channel.